Yes. Back again. Motown Philly's back again. Coffee Break with JN's back again. What a little new Jack Swang. Your boy JN going off. Not too hard. Pause. Not too soft. Well, hello. Well, hello, dear whoever you are. Hello, dear groupies. Hello, dear No, I have some Patronuses here, but we're talking to caffeines tonight. You know who you are, caffeines. Friends and guys, I'm tired. Friends and regulars, not decaf for Coffee Break with JM. Well, hello. Well, hello, you guys. What's going on? Yo, I see we had a small house tonight, but hopefully that'll change. Hold on, you guys. I gotta clean my John off. Pause. Ooh, that's crisp. Hello. Um, it's funny how you would think after the Zoom era and people had to be on camera a lot. You think people would get better about being on camera, right? Unless you were trying to kind of like, I don't know, stage a protest or something like that when you were on Zooms and like the whole, like your whole web camera just looked like somebody just like licked their thumb and just smeared it or there was like Vaseline on it. Like, clean your lens, yo. Clean your lens, pause. Um, Let me do the intros and then we'll get right into it. Ready? Well, hello. And welcome back to Coffee Break with JN with your boy JN. Looking nice tonight, I might say. You know, good to see you all. Sorry for the super quick post. I just got in the door, you guys. I was at it. I was out on the road. I had I was paneling and doing workshops at an educators conference in Maryland. I just got home, and I couldn't leave you guys for a whole JNN period of no video live cast, right? We didn't have pencil to pencil last night, uh, and you know I thought I would be home in time for coffee break. So hello, thank you, and thank you for your patience. Let's see what's going on in this group. Yo, Bill, what up, Bill? Bill says, as a Zoom admin, I can testify if folks still have no idea about camera cleaning or framing. Yo, you know what I mean? Like, I always I keep you in the scope. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I was. Oh, I didn't do that. I shared on the Patronus. What do you call that? Kind of like our group text. As if you're a patron of mine, this is a good place as any to do a join. If you are a patron of mine, what we have there is, and it's a feature on Patreon, where if you download the mobile app, we have a um, group chat just kind of running all the time, and you can just jump in and jump out. And I just posted. I didn't upload it to my computer or anything, but when I was out running errands before I left town the other day to go to this conference, I went to Walgreens. Shout out to Walgreens. Or if you guys are in New York, Dwayne Reed, it's the same thing. Shout out to Dwayne Reed. Um, and I pulled up to the store and I parked and I jumped out my car and right next to my tire was a Walgreens bag, and kind of nestled on top of the Walgreens bag was a can of, I guess you would say like chunky soup, but it looked like it was like, I don't know, chicken pot pie chunky soup, and the lid of the can was strategically taken off. Because if I'm not mistaken, I don't know if all of them are pop tops. I think sometimes you have to like chunk it with a can opener. And like half it was gone, like somebody just opened it and just like took it to the head. and then had enough of it and just like threw it in the parking lot. So maybe our first story of the night, and I'm going to see who superstars are here tonight. Um, I'm distracted, you guys. Tell me, what is the weirdest thing you saw in a parking lot? And if you can be PC, please do, or at least try to work your way around it. So let's try to keep it PG. Like you don't have to say things like "I saw a body." Like I believe you, I'm from Philly. I've seen all types of stuff. But put in the chat, what's the wildest thing you saw in a parking lot? It could be. And also tell us what the parking lot was too, because that could actually add to the story. Um, Ronaldo, what up, Ronaldo? Shout out to the bull, Ronaldo. Uh, uh, Generalissimo Ronaldo of the Patreon regime. Ronaldo says, "Well, I once had a guy try and sell me a live python at a camp." What did that pitch go like? Did he just have it like around his neck, or did he have it in a thing? I want to hear about that. No, I believe you. I really feel like there's not much anybody could say that I would go like, "Come on, I ain't happy," but I totally believe you. Jared D says Ronaldo wins, game over. Yo, Paul Pate, what up, Paul Pate? While you guys are cooking up your parking lot stories, I'm gonna run through this chat and see who's checking in. I see a whole lot of superstars up in the chat tonight. I see some mainstays, some groupies in good standing. I see you'll get the claps together. I call Shogun. What up, I call Shogun, representing the PM Dubs. I see my man Bill. Yo, hello from Sao Paulo. Wow. What time is it over there? As I'm dumb and I have no idea what time it is. I see. No, no, notorious, Rios, Rios, Rios. What up, JRD? Good to see you. AKA number one. But after I coined JRD as notorious, the notorious JRD, all the other nicknames fell away. I called JRD number one. And it's funny because I'm also Jean-Luc Picard. I'll save it for later. JRD was the very first person to join my Patreon. So, yeah, let's give a sip of coffee to my man JRD just on the strength of that. Let's get the first sippers up of the night. Come on, you guys, get the sippers up. It's in here somewhere. Did somebody move my sipper? My sipper's at okay. Sip of coffee for Notorious JRD. Well, I've been talking so long, my coffee's kind of cold. So shout out to JRD. Who else is in the chat? I saw Bill. What up, Bill? I saw Marshall. What up, Marshall? Marshall always checks in. What up, Marshall? It's good to see you, my man. What's up, Will? You tell me what's up. JRD says I'm on a quick trip tonight. Pause. I gotta run to the stove soon before picking up the kidlet, the record stove. That's who else do I see in here? Yo, cartoonist Jack. What up, Jack? Jack caught me lacking on the YouTube page. He was like, "Yo, no pencil to pencil." It's like, sorry, and we were doing so well too. And I've been doing something on the YouTube community page that we haven't done before. I've been posting like a little like a thumbnail of that week's episode, a little like when I'm doing the rest of the posting. And I don't put coffee break on there. I don't know why. But thanks, Jack, for signing in. Jack, you know what? We haven't made you an honorary caffeine yet. You haven't been sworn in as an Avenger yet. So I don't know, you guys. Put in the chat. Has cartoonist Jack put in enough time that I can just give him his button? Let's talk about it. Yo, Jeff, what up, Jeff? Yo, Jeff, happy birthday. Happy born date to my man Jeff. Was it today or was it yesterday, Jeff? Let's give a birthday sipper to my man Jeff. We're getting old, yo. Happy birthday, brother. Jeff, what did you get for your birthday? Are we too old for that? Are we too old to do birthday gifts? Let's see. Yo, Billy Bob, what up, Billy Bob? Billy Bob, you're close to becoming an honorary caffeine as well. For some of you guys who have no idea what I'm talking about, you know who you are, caffeines, friends of regulars, a coffee break with JN. Because this is such a tight knit community, may I dare say family? We'll just keep it to community. I don't want anybody to get offended. I like to reward consistency. I like to reward people who come back every time for JNN, Jamar Nicholas Network programming. JNN programming consists of, well, where can I start? Pencil to Pencil, Coffee Break with JN. You go behind the Patreon, there's a lot going on. It Ain't Hard to Tell, or IAHTT, your fortnightly Patreon podcast exclusive with comic book superstar Mike Hawthorne and myself. We just celebrated our 100th episode. Other things on the JNN docket, Morning Constitutional, it's not what you think it is, where I give you a Monday affirmation to get you moving and get you through your week. What am I forgetting? Thank you for having me, my solo interview joint. Come on, you guys. But anyway, to that cartoonist Jack and Billy Bob, because you've been coming around in every like pretty much like clockwork, you may become an honorary caffeine, and I'll give it up to the chat. You guys chat. Does Billy Bob and cartoonist Jack deserve to get sworn in as a caffeine avenger tonight? You tell me. You tell me. All right, I got on my soapbox. Let's see who else is here. Today was a good day. Yes. Bob cooked the breakfast with no hog. Yo, I love it. Yo, my man Ben Harvey. Ayo, coffee, caffeine boss. What up? Call me caffeine boss in these parts of town. Black boss, Baraka Basu. Caffeine boss, what up, Ben? Ben, I've been shouting you out. Everybody knows my man Ben Harvey in the chat. Ben Harvey's a caffeine in good standing. My favorite pupil. That's right. We've been good buds for a long time. And Ben is killing the game. Did you see his X-Men 97 covers from Marvel? There's a new one that did it just drop, Ben? Did it come out this week? With Rogue in like one of the, what do you call the Lockheeds? What are the X-Men jets called? They're called the X-Men jets. Don't the Quinjet and the X-Men jet look frighteningly the same? Anyway, good to see you, Ben. Ben's a superstar on the rise. Great to see you. Thank you, sir. Eternity forever. What up? Good to see you. Yo, Dom. What up? Oh, where'd you go? I just saw you. I saw Dom Gomez, and then his face disappeared. What up, Dom? I thought I saw Dom. Paul Pate. What up, Paul Pate? Well, hello. Good to see you. Yo, Angel. What up? What up, sippers? Here comes the hot sipper. Good to see you, Dom. Good to see you. Bill says Sao Paulo is only an hour ahead from here. They don't do daylight savings time. Huh. JRD on that number one, Steve. He do sit in chairs. Funny. All right, getting back to if I missed anybody, hello. Oh, D. What up, D? D Parson. D Parson, one of the newest cartoonists at King Features, right? Gotta give another sipper to D. Man, this is like a new renaissance of cartoonists bubbling up with syndication deals. So proud of you, D. D and I just kind of met, so I'm still kind of like getting acquainted with your work. But that's a fantastic come up. So sip of coffee for D. I'm gonna be out of coffee before we even get started here. Why can't I find a sipper? Another sipper for D, and fantastic come up. That's fantastic. I'm so happy for you. Yo, Tom's in the building. Good to see you. Yo, Christoph, what's up? Good to see you. Bonjour, Christoph. Christoph says, no, that's the Venture Brothers jet. Yeah. Bill giving Ben props. Marvel cover extraordinaire. And that's right, Cartoonist Jack is going to get he's going to get blessed in the refreshing waters of Lake Minnetonka. All right, guys, remind me at the end of the show, and we'll do the proceeding. Good to see you, Christoph. Cartoonist Jack says, I'm assuming most people here are also fellow cartoonists. That's not necessarily true. We have cartoonists in attendance. We have people who are just caffeine's friends of the channel. Also creatives of a lot of different stripes. So, like Zelda Rubinstein said in Poltergeist, all are welcome, all welcome. So you never know who you'll meet in the chat. Pencil to Pencil is pretty cartoonist heavy, but you'll see what's going on in here. It changes around a little bit. Bonsoir, mon ami. Uh, Oh, Cartoonist Jack, thank you. Cartoonist Jack says, I really like Leon Extraordinary, by the way. I picked up a copy a few weeks ago. Thank you so much. You're going to doubly love Leon Worst Friends Forever when that drops in October, but thank you so much. And I want to talk a little bit about this conference I went to. I thought I turned this. Oh, sorry, guys. Here, let's try that. And it's also funny that people try to contact me. It's coffee break. Stop trying to mess me up. Stop trying to yuck my yum. JRD says on the topic of the X-Men jets, the X-Jet is based on the Lockheed SR-71. I knew you would know that. That's so cool. And the Quinjet is what? It's all kind of made up, right? Oh, the X-Jet is a Lockheed, which is why Kitty named her Dragon after the jet. I thought it was the other way around. It's really interesting. Christoph says, "Oh, congratulations on so many awards. Thank you, Christoph." Christoph is referring to if you're a friend of mine on Facebook, the Book of Faces. I just dropped some news, and just to be clear, because I know all this kind of weird literary jargon sounds maybe a little puffier, pause, puffier than it really is. So I have a couple of short lists. So a short list basically means that my book has been nominated for something, and it's at the you may win once we figure out the winner type, not in the pool with everyone else. So there are two things that I just announced the other day. One is the Shogun. Am I saying it wrong again? The Nene. That's the Nene Hawaiian Children's Book Award, which is given out by Hawaiian elementary school kids for their favorite book in the state. And Leon Extraordinary is in the graphic novel section. Very, very, very jazzed about that. It doesn't even matter if I win or not. It's just that wow, it's cool that kids are reading my book in Hawaii. Right? I think that's cool. Then also, last but not least, is that Leon is also shortlisted for the Blue Nile Award. And the Nile Award is another kind of like a children's led juried book choice from school children, but this one's from Africa. So for a bunch of different schools that touch the Nile River, if your school is kind of connected to the Nile or near the Nile, the kids get to be have a vote and their favorite book. So this one it's called the Blue Nile Award. So there's kind of different categories, and it's kind of like the middle grade. They use a lot of fancy things like two, 3, and 4, and third, fourth, and fifth primary school grades under British law or something like that. Yeah, it's cool. So thank you so much. I appreciate that. All right, JRD, be safe out there. Paul Pate says, I just bought a copy of Leon's birthday present. Thank you so much. Hey, Josh, what's going on? Josh says, what kind of coffee you drinking tonight? You know what, Josh? No one's asked me what kind of coffee I drink in a long time. That used to be a big part of the show. What's in the cup? When people stop asking. So what I've been doing for the past, I'm old, right? And I like old man stuff. What I have in this cup is, don't hate me, I have Keurig brewed. Like, I don't even know if you call that brewed. I put the cup in the joint and Folgers, straight up Folgers, straight up old man coffee. There's nothing like sexy in this. It's just straight Folgers and a little. Oh, did we talk about a lot of the old cafes know that I enjoy oat milk, but I also enjoy. I'm about to put this on the screen. Hold on, Josh. I gotta remove you for the screen because I gotta set this up. I also enjoy nut pods. Now, I think we've covered this ground before, but there's a brand of, I guess it's oat milk, and also like I think there's a couple of flavors like vanilla and oat milk, or it's kind of like a nut milk called Nut Pods. It's not the greatest name in the world, but it's really good. It's delicious, and that's all I put in my coffee. I'm not a sweetener or sugar. It's just this. I kind of weaned myself off of sugar and sweeteners a long time ago. Oh, yo, I forgot. Thank you, Angel. I don't know if I'm going to do this, but yo, they don't say pause anymore. They say no diddy, and I don't know how I feel about that. I'm gonna keep it. I'm gonna keep it real. I'm gonna just keep saying pause. Oh no, Coffee Crow got the Seika. Mm. Um, Christoph says, "Do I have a robe and comfy slippers to go with that Folgers?" I like strong old man coffee. I like Maxwell House or Folgers or 8 o'clock. Is it a eight? Was what is that? It 8 o'clock coffee. What's the other one? Chock full of nuts. Pause. Paul says, "Can you give us a definition for the word gentrification?" I promise not to try to use it. You guys made that up. Uh, so gentrification is when I guess Philadelphians invade your area. I thought when you guys made it up is when I come to your town. I'm gentrifying this. I'm gentrifying this area. I'm the new director of this facility. Yo, James, what up, James? Good to see you. Always looking suave bola. Well, hello. All right, I was all over the road, you guys. I totally okay. So I didn't get a lot of parking lot stories, so that's okay. Bill says, if anything, Leon would do amazing down in Brazil. Lots of young kids here would identify with Leon and crew. I'm not sure about. I don't know what the market looks like out there, as far as just kind of reach. I was watching um, nothing that has to do with us, but I was watching a interview uh, with some of the luminaries at Scholastic. I had nothing to do with this. I was just watching it, and somebody who was viewing it. It was like a Zoom. There's like all the little Brady Bunch boxes on the screen, and somebody called in from Manila, and they said, "How come I can't find this book or that book here, but Dogman's everywhere?" And it was kind of like it's even though a lot these books are global to a degree, the markets are a lot different. And actually today at this conference we were talking about the how cartooning is treated differently across the world. How, like, in America, it almost seems like cartoonists are tolerated, not really celebrated, and it's starting to change, but it's not really where I think it should be. But then in Japan, if you go into a 7-Eleven in Tokyo, they have One Piece on the counter, like right there next to the churros or the onigiri. And it's just like, it's not like, what? What's that doing here? It's like, of course, because everybody reads this stuff there. Or in Europe, where they celebrate the art of illustration and cartooning, almost like it's part of their identity as a culture. And I think that's great. So, I mean, I don't know. I'm pretty sure they have graphic novels, but who knows if they only get like, a percentage. Um, Also, that reminds me of when I was in Tokyo. They have American comics, and like if you go to like the manga shop, that's probably 6 floors of just manga. It's eye popping. They might have an American shelf, and when I was there, I'm dating myself. When I was there, they had a lot of comics that had anything to do with President Obama. That's what I was there. Like they had the Spider-Man crossover where he's like fist bumping Obama. That was apparently that was a big deal to them. But yeah, Bill, if you have an M, let's talk about it. Sorry, Josh, that was my coffee. D says, "Bless you, Mr. Jamar. It's a super pleasure getting acquainted with you too. Thank you. King Features has been so incredible, and there's been a lot going on with the comic getting ready for its debut. Send me all your wonderful and caffeinated energy. Yes, and I know that apparently some of the caffeines have said that the chat isn't kind to URLs, like they don't like you posting URLs in the chat. But if you guys want to do a card exchange, and D, maybe if you want to talk about or your strip, or if anybody wants to, say I'm making bath bombs or something, and here's my URL. Please do that in the chat now. That's right. Shogun says 60 acres of manga, 1 4 foot shelf of Marvel in DC is real. And Christoph, Christoph, you know just on that European deal how big a difference the kind of sensibilities are even in like Europe with how they treat cartooning than here. I think it's really interesting. Bill says the newspaper stands still have tons of comics on a wall in Portuguese. Wow, I'd love to get some of those. Shogun says they don't even got the squeaky spin rack, and also the spinner rack are still really hard to find here or hard to come by. There was a cartoonist that was making them. I think there was a Kickstarter a while back for like an old school straight up spinner rack that you could buy and put together and put in your house. Put your comics in there. Um, if you can find a spinner rack in good shape, or if you find somebody who's making them, be ready to put out at least $300. If you can find a spinner rack for cheaper than 300, you got a deal. Yes, yes. Um, so all right, I'll talk about. I'm just going back through the chat to make sure I didn't miss anything. Um, so I was just out of town in Maryland for an educators conference, and I was asked to. Oh, Jack, I see your question. I'll get to that in a little bit. That's very true. Um, so for archiving and protecting your comics, the spinner rack looks nice, but it's not going to like do right by your books. They're going to kind of get compressed, or even get that like get jammed up in there. So I was I went to this conference, and it was very nice. And part of my mix of things that I do, besides doing school visits and besides going to like library conferences, also comic book conventions, uh, is I go to a lot of book festivals, and then there's other things in between. And this is kind of the season of educator conferences. And an education conference is kind of what you may think it looks like. It's a lot of teachers or a lot of librarians or a lot of, upper, you know, I don't know, like higher echelon educators who are going for, I don't know, I think sometimes they get, kind of like certification credits and things like that. I don't know. I'm just kind of filling the blanks here. And as an author, I get asked to come out to these things, and my loadout this time was I had a panel. I was on a panel with a fantastic uh, lineup of uh, authors who, I mean, it was just great. They're very. It's really easy to be intimidated, and also what I really enjoy about being in a space with people who like. I'm still a weird unicorn with these guys because like I'm the only graphic novelist or author illustrator, and a lot of these people were writers. One lady had written 80 books. That's wild, and announced that she probably had like another five coming out this year. You think you have it rough. And what I love about these kind of events, and I was kind of like representing graphic novels, is that I think it's a different mind process to think about kind of like the pedagogical or the educational bent to having graphic novels be so popular right now with kids. A lot of this stuff is in the classroom. A lot of this stuff is not in the classroom. There's beyond all of the stuff that's going on in like courtrooms and courthouses and stuff about banned books and people who think you shouldn't read this or my kids shouldn't read that. Is there's also a lot of educators who don't get this, right? You remember how a lot of us may have grown up where you just, if you brought a comic book to school, it was getting thrown out or taken from you. But now that graphic novels are really kind of coming up and bubbling up and being used in education circles, it doesn't really mean that everybody's like, cool, where do I sign? There's still a lot of like, what is this? Wait a minute, what? What is manga? What is it? So I kind of, that's a big part of my shift when I'm doing these things. So there's kind of like an edutainment part there. It's like, well, this is what this is, and I try to decode a lot of it for comic book and comic strip readers. I think we take for granted that you know how to read this material because you've always read it. But if there's ever been a moment where, say, you really love something and you handed it to somebody who's never read a comic before, they're like, what is what? I don't know what I'm looking at. One of the things that I get sometimes from people is like, "Oh, I got your book. I got Leon. Oh, that's great. What'd you think?" I read it in 15 minutes. It was great. I'm like, I don't think you read it. Right? I don't think you read a 272-page book in 15 minutes. Just saying. So, I talk about that. It's like not necessarily what do you read first in order, but like how these things get married together to make a really wonderful symphony. Like how you're taking words and using images to accentuate both sides, and then you add in sound effects and onomatopoeias, and then you're also directing the reader's eye by your panel selections. And what's also as important as what you put into a panel is what you don't. There's a lot to learn, and I'm really happy that the people at the conferences come away with a really great perspective on something that they may not have known about. And even if you do, I try to give you something you may not have heard before. Then after that, there's a signing, and there was a local bookseller who had Leon's out there, and took pictures and signed a lot of books. It's fantastic. And then I did a workshop later. Let me get to these questions. I feel like I've been running my mouth. Um, Shogun's talked about spinner racks. Yeah, Marshall says we have one in the studio full of 80s indie comics. Yo, I'm coming over. Um, Shogun says, "Yo, there's one spinning rack on eBay for literally $1,000. I told y'all. I told you. Yeah, and especially those old rusty ones that creak. If you don't get a tetanus shot first before you start putting that together, you put your life at risk." Hold on a second. I want to finish the spinner rack, and Christoph and Jack, I'll get back to you. Josh says, "I've been having a hard time trying to buy a spinner rack in my area for the last few years." See, I'm, I'm just saying, they don't look like they would keep your comics in the best condition. They don't. Are they that bad for your comics? I think it's a straight nostalgia thing. If you are actively trying to store your comic books and keep them in Jim Mint's tin collection condition, there's better ways to store them. I think people who want have spinner racks in their studios or in their offices just or they're it's a straight dopamine hit from when you were a kid and you used to go to 7-Eleven and get comics. So I would say, just enjoy it if you have one, but I wouldn't buy one to think that's how you should store your comics. Um, Bill says, "Are the librarians understanding the graphic novels, or do they have a lot of questions about the format?" They have a lot of questions about the format. And what's also cool is that a lot of them have their favorites, and it's great to see. But sometimes I see that there's kind of, and this is also really funny. I run into people who love different things about graphic novels that I, as a creator, aren't really picking up on. And it's great when you can have a conversation with somebody and they're like, "Oh, my favorite part was this," and I'm just like, "Did I draw that?" You know what I mean? So that's kind of one of the magical parts about it is everybody finds something to pick out of it. But they, I'm just speaking very broadly. I think a lot of educators who were using graphic novels in their classroom are doing it for a specific reason. And a lot of times things get projected to me about like, "Oh, this is a gateway to real books." That's a conversation I have all the time, and you hear this in the hallways. It's like, "Oh well, I'm glad that the students are into this, but hopefully they'll grow out of that and read real books." And that's a really strong conversation. And I've done keynotes just about that. So there's still a lot of like swaying to be done. It's not a slam dunk as much as you may think it is, or just the numbers on some book lists tell you that it is, but in schools it's a little different. Um, but that's why I'm glad I can come and do those type of things because there's not a lot of people that do. There's kind of like a revolving door of author illustrators who do kind of these kind of things, but there's not as many as you think. Jack says, "I met a cartoonist whose books were famously banned. I felt so bad for her. She's so nice it was banned just because she mentioned same-sex relationships." Well, that's a fight in of itself. And you know, also seen in some circles that people were like, "Hey, did your book get banned yet?" I'm like, "What? This isn't funny. What do you?" "Oh well, I heard if your book is banned, that's helps sales." Like, what? Huh? What are we talking about? Like, there's a lot to unravel, and it is a shame. It's like it's all these things mess with people's livelihoods. We talked about something just today where you guys may not have heard of this. Is say you got a school district got in touch with you, and they're like, "Hey, listen, we would love for you to come out to I don't know someplace. I don't want to say a city because then people take it the wrong way. I'm just kind of making this up. And then you're like a week out, and you probably even counted the money in your head that's already spent before you get paid for it. And then you get an email that says, "I'm sorry, you can't come now." What do you mean? You were disinvited because there's some sort of dust up in the school district, or some parent got a bee in their bonnet over your book, and now we don't think this is going to work. Sorry, like this is really messing people's deals up, and there's really no rhyme or reason to it. And it's not like there's like this giant quorum of people who are like, you know what, we don't think this book should work. Sometimes it's just a really like busybody person who comes into the library and goes, "What is this book? I don't know why this is here," and it could shut down the whole thing. So I don't want to get political. It's probably easier than it should be to get a book taken off a shelf, and I don't think it should be that easy. But then also everybody gets scared, and nobody wants to be the person that gets gets fingers pointed at them. So I mean, it's a really complicated and sensitive issue. Yeah, that's the world we're in. So even again, as much as everybody is like, "Wow, that's awesome," this is just kind of how it is. It is rough. A sip of coffee for graphic novels. Thanks, Paul Pate. Let's bring it back around. Let's get our sippers up. It's work. This is work, you guys. And I'm very fortunate to be in a position where I can, ply my trade and travel and go and talk to kids all around the country and all of that. And I think each one of these components is just as important as the other. There was a long time where I did nothing but conferences, and I hadn't seen a kid. Like I was at the like library association things and the BEA, and I was at the National Book Fair, and I was all these things. And then I got a couple of school visits, and then going to the schools, and it's a whole different thing. The energy is fantastic. Um, but all of it's a fight, all of it's a push. None of it is easy. I love that I get to be my natural self when I could talk to a kid, and I could talk to the principal of your school, and make both of those conversations worth something. But I don't show up and make balloon animals. You know what I'm saying? And I'm always thinking about, even being in front of kids, I'm always thinking about, what is my message? What am I here talking about? It's really not the me, me, me show, as much as some people might think, well, Jamar, you're a lot. You must be kind of like exhausting. Just have you stand in front of somebody for 2 hours and talk. I'm trying to enrich as many people as I can. Uh, is this fake? Is wrestling fake? Eternity wants a spinning rack now. Real rap. Um, Jack says, "Would you recommend donating copies of our books to libraries?" I was thinking of that. You mean just like your city library? I think it may be more beneficial if you donated them to school libraries, because they're probably more apt to not be able to have books, right? Your kind of like city funded library probably has more of an internal system where they get books. You can always ask, and I don't think they'll say no, but they may say no. Um, but I think school libraries, community centers, think outside the box. Barbershops, um, places where you probably should see more kids read. It would be a great place to donate it. But if you're thinking about, and I'm not saying this, Jack, but if you're thinking about just getting your books put in the library so that they're in the library, just so people go, oh, your book's in the library. I don't know how much that would net you. I also think it's always a nice touch if your neighborhood has those, what do they call them, the little library, like those, like a book box, to put a couple of your books in there, or whoever's in charge of the book box, give them to them and ask if it's okay. But I also would um, maybe register what kind of content it is. Um, like if it's, is it a good kid book? Is it a book for older people? Is it a book, if you put in there, that it will be kind of like a little too advanced for a kid? You know, I would have some more questions, but you should start that conversation. It's a great way to get your work out there. Real books. Billy Bob says this is going to sound obvious, but I think people forget that graphic novels are stories in the same ways that novels are just with visuals. Yes, it's almost like a whole sword fight out here. Um, and I had a great time at the conference, and everything I say these days, I measure it because I don't want it to sound like I went to this thing and all these people were like, "Duh, what are graphic novels?" That's not what it was at all. But these conversations are worth having. Um, and say if there's a room full of like if you're in a room of 50 educators, and I didn't say librarians. People keep saying librarians. This conference is filled with all types of educators. Um, some might make curriculum, some might be like a kindergarten teacher, some might be the principal or the superintendent. You have no idea who you're talking to. So I just don't assume they're all like one thing. Um, but there's a lot of I don't even want to call it miseducation. There's a lot of assumptions about what this stuff is. And somebody's gotta tell them, right? And their lives are already and their jobs are already hard enough as it is. You're not going to go like push your glasses up and go, what is a graphic novel? It's like, what is this? Does this fit into our curriculum or not? If not, then I have other things to worry about. About bad books. Now that nobody can buy your book, are they buying your book? GTFO. I love it. Yeah, Billy Bob, you're saying good stuff. Jack says it's a ton of work. My last book tour, my last book took 4 years to make on top of trying to do a day job. But it's very fulfilling. Working on my book helped me get through the pandemic. Yo, word up. Dakota, what up, Dakota? Little free library, yes. I know that there's kind of like a thing, like, and I've seen it on top of some of the boxes, pause. But some people just like, there's one in the neighborhood over from mine that somebody just kind of like, just like, it's like lean it over. They made it. It's not when they're really good, but they put it out there. Ramon, what up, my friend? Yo, sip of coffee for Ramon. Ramon Gill, where are you? Hold on, sip of coffee for Ramon. How are you, my brother? All right, when I do that, I lose you on the screen, so I got to go back to it. Sorry. Ramon says, I found many libraries won't take donated books to their collections. They have requirements. See, so I mean, there's a lot of stuff in there that I don't want to get into, but like, I found out that comic book world and traditional book publishing world, some of the languages are kind of the same, but they don't fit necessarily. And that space, let's say, uh, especially in comics, there was a giant period where everybody was like, this book is for all ages. And that made sense to us. All ages. It means I want everybody to read this book. In traditional book world, that does not work because you can't make a book for everyone. It just doesn't. You can't put that on a shelf. Where does this go? Well, everybody should read it. I can't put that there. What grade? What level is this for? Is this a young adult book? Is it a middle grade book? Is it an early reader book? Is it a cookbook? Like what? What is it? So all of those things you have to have sussed out. Also, and I don't want to speak down to anybody because I'm not sure if you know or don't know. You really need your ISBN numbers. You need your two ISBN numbers on the book for that to even be considered because they need to be able to scan it or boop it. And or you know what? Maybe you should just find out the requirements. And that also, if you want to kind of think in a reverse, may also steer you into like, well, I really feel like my community needs books like this. Maybe you need to make the book like that. But you make the book like that when you figure out what people are missing. And this kind of goes against what I usually say, where I say I don't not to chase trends. I don't like to chase trends. I don't really like to tell people to chase trends. Like I didn't say make a zombie book, but if you feel like there's something, if there's a voice missing, maybe you can be that voice. Ramon, that was a really good shout out. Bill Donaldson, shout out to Ramon for the Whiz Kids from DARPA. Meow, meow, meow. I got to get my hands on that. Uh, well, Jack, I'm not necessarily sure if that's true. You have your audience out there. You might have to just fine tune it a little bit. Right, Nakota says, is it fiction? Is it nonfiction? Is it reference? Kid book? Adult book? Young adult book? All ages, you just can't drop that in the pool and it's not going to float. Maybe this will be a good time for an ID. And yo, wow, this show's almost over, you guys. We're really just cooking. You're watching Coffee Break with Jay. Oh, I didn't put my. Hold on a second. You're watching Coffee Break with Jay and with your boy JN. That's me. Guys, you may know at this point that I am a Philadelphian in good standing. And with that honorific, I also am a John enthusiast. You've heard that word? Yes. Do people say it? Not really, but I like saying it in mixed company. Um, so I also have a lot of nicknames. Um, I started making my own nicknames, or even the caffeines make nicknames, because with my own name, with my government name, I don't like people messing with my name. Like I get really like tight about stuff. Like don't call me some little like caked up variant of Jamar. Like don't call me Jam or Jammer or no, it's JN or Jamar. We'll come up with the other stuff, and then don't worry about it. So, with that said, one or two of my favorite nicknames are the administrator of this facility. That's right. We're gonna have the running of the ice cream machines, ice cream makers soon. Um, I gotta look at Johnny Carson. That's wild, wild stuff. And I was going to say earlier with JRD when JRD was here, and also the captain of this ship, Jean-Luc Picard. There are 4 Johns. What happens here? You get to hang out with me. I'm also a cartoonist. Not only am I handsome, I'm also a cartoonist. You get to hang out with me and watch me drink coffee and run my mouth. And you know what happens when I'm out of coffee? We don't want that to happen now, do we? Thank you guys. Short and sweet. John Cena. Oh, also, it's WrestleMania weekend. Guys, Philly, I was about to say it's legit on fire. It's not on fire, but WrestleMania has engulfed Philadelphia. My cousins reached out to me. It's like, yo, you at WrestleMania? Because they know I'm a wrestling dude. I'm like, no, I'm not at WrestleMania, but I'm happy that wrestling is bubbling up. There's a people, I don't know if like people like kind of like scoff and laugh at wrestling. WrestleMania is a huge deal. WrestleMania is a Super Bowl of wrestling, and the city is feeding that. Like if the Super Bowl was in your city and you remember how crazy it was the whole week, like the whole month before the Super Bowl happened, that's what's going on right now. So there's a bunch of wrestle conventions. Um, and whatever you guys think, if you kind of goof on wrestling, is not that. It's like, oh, I could go to this place and we could wrestle. It's like there's a lot of indie companies that are in town who are running shows at the famous ECW Arena or the 2300 Arena. Back in the 90s, ECW was here. Me and my crew used to go to the ECW matches every month. You can watch some of those old tapes. You probably see me in the background, like it was must see. It was must see TV back then. There's shows running there. There's Japanese promotions here. I miss Joshi Mania. There's a lot of Japanese female wrestling There's a whole show. I think that was tonight. Kaiju Big Battle, I think, is here. Ring of Honor's here. It's a big thing, y'all. Pause. So yeah. Cactus Jaw. Captain Scholastic. I haven't done that one in a while. 25. All right, I'll read those later. Oh, that's what's up. That's a nice little fun fact, Jack. Thank you for that. And Jack and Billy Bob, you're really bringing substance to the channel, so thank you guys so much. See, Bill knows what's up. NXT Standard Delivery is going to be a barn burner. I love it. Ronaldo with the Dusty Rhodes with WrestleMania, the big one, Daddy. Bullet of Wood, the Midnight Rider. TNA was at 2,300 just a month or two ago. Come on, man. So, kind of what I used to go to a lot of wrestling matches. I used to go to don't get me started because I lose half my audience when I start talking about pro wrestling. But back in the early hotbed, one thing about pro wrestling is it's cyclical. So like every 7 years, it goes through an upturn and it's popular again. It's not like it stops, but people kind of don't care, and then something really interesting happens and people will care again. Right now, we're on an uptick. WWE is really booming right now. Besides all of the kind of like behind the scenes stuff with Vince McMahon, that's a whole other thing. But The Rock has come back to wrestling, and he's probably the biggest thing in wrestling right now, and the building up to WrestleMania. And it's fantastic stuff, and not all the stuff is engaging. There's like a lot of wasted space on TV. But back in the 90s, went to the ECW shows, and ECW revolutionized pro wrestling as it is now. And then when they folded, we went to Ring of Honor. There was like death match, garbage match promotions like CZW, where people just got thrown through plate glass windows and got hit over the head with like phosphorus tubes. You know what? If you've ever saw The Wrestler, the what's his face? You know who I'm talking about, the cat. The cat. That was a great movie, and that kind of shows a lot about kind of like how pro wrestling really works. I've seen Jesse the Body Ventura, yeah. Yeah, yeah, he was a big deal. Yeah, Bill says The Rock has become the final boss. It's good stuff. Mickey Rourke, thank you, Ronaldo. That was a great movie. And it just kind of shows you how, like, these guys are just kind of like, this is what you are and this is what you do, and it's in you. But yeah, so WrestleMania week is hot. I'm not going to anything. After what I was getting to was like after the pandemic, and even before that, I was kind of like, I can't sit on bleachers anymore. I'd rather just like not be here. So something's got to be really, really good for me to go back. If you ever go into a live wrestling event, you're missing little pieces that you don't get, like that you're used to having watching it on TV, like announcers. There's no announcers. There's not like, oh, what a move going over the speakers. It's just, you just hear the crowd. So a lot of the wrestlers work to the crowd, and it's very interactive. But you kind of miss that if you're at the thing. Yeah, right. Johnny Mnemonic. I'm sorry. Mercer Trevay was in the Go watch. You know what? I also didn't see that Von Erich story, the Iron Claw, with the kid from Shameless was one of the Von Erichs. The tragic Von Erich family. All this stuff is like. See, also, there's another thing. Wrestling sleaze is a lot of people are really into. Like, oh my God, did you hear this? Well, yeah, I kind of heard all these stories at this point. Yeah. Yup. It's real, you guys. John Wick. Oh, we told you I didn't use John Wick because that's a real person. Some dude shot up like a neighborhood in Philly, and he was standing off with the cops. The the people started calling him John Wick. Is that a is that a joke? I don't think I heard of Amnesia Man. Yeah, I see. I got it. All right. Did I miss anything? I felt like I was going to talk about some other stuff. Jackson, speaking of wrestling, I'm so excited that Sergeant Slaughter is going to be a guest at Terrificon. Luckily, my wife will be helping me table so I can get an autograph. Yo, Sarge is, I've never met him, but he's a really nice guy. Also, you might want to try to pick up some GI Joe paraphernalia and get the Sarge to sign it. There's a because everybody knows I'm a big GI Joe mark, and they have a new GI Joe classified Sergeant Slaughter. You should pick that up and get him to sign it. Um, Yo, I've seen so many New Jack matches. I was at where was that the one? We also would see ECW in different venues. Like we drove, and we didn't go to New York because you could just see it Philly. There were some places I think we were like at. I felt like it was in somebody's attic, and the ceiling was really low. And I think New Jack was like monkey barring on the ceiling, like hand over hand on some pipes and dropped a leg drop on somebody for the roof. The rafters is crazy. Yeah, just buy it. Just buy it because if you don't, it won't be there when you come back. Um, this was a weird show, you guys. And I apologize for being tired. I've been driving and I've been on today, and I wanted to make sure that I did this. I had this time with you guys because I need this as much as you guys do, and I'm glad that we can come together as a group. Sorry, no Sue's pose tonight. Sue's and Matt aren't here, so if Queen Sue's isn't here, no Sue's poses will be had. Um, and we'll have to see about. I don't have any announcements about next week for Pencil to Pencil. Thanks, Jack. That's really nice. But I know we should be on. And then if you remember this every other week schedule, no coffee break next week. I'll do the week after that. A lot of it gets filled in because of my programming that I do on my Patreon. So it's kind of like there's a lot of podcasting if you think about it. It's pencil to pencil. Then I record it. It ain't hard to tell. And then it's pencil to pencil. And then it's coffee break. And then other stuff. So there's a lot going on. So I don't like burn out my motor. I felt it was necessary to kind of like stagger this a little bit. Yes, group is needed. All right, before I run out of time, I have some stuff to do. Thank you, Josh. It was good seeing you. Billy Bob, are you present? Just type that you're here in the chat. Jack, I know you're present because we've been talking the whole time. That's right. Suze will be back again, like Frosty. I'll be back again someday. I appreciate that. Awesome. All right, it's time to anoint you guys in the soothing waters of Lake Minnetonka. Billy Bob, for your service of showing up to these live streams every week for at least a month, I would like to baptize you as an honorary caffeine. You're Avenger now, kid. Cartoonist Jack, yes, for your service in putting up with listening to me talk for months on end and being a very good participant. I would like to bless you and anoint you as an as an Avenger now, kid. You're an honorary caffeine. Sip of coffee for the new caffeines. Let's get the sippers up, you guys. Isn't that great? You know who the caffeines are, friends and regulars, not decaf. A coffee break with JN. Fantastic. Welcome them. Oh, look at that. Look at that. All the coffees. All the coffees. Yeah, that's what's up. All right, you guys. I'm gonna start wrapping this up. Hold on. I like the coffee emoji. I like that. That's a nice tribute, guys. I would be remiss before we get out of here because there's still some housekeeping to do. I've been on the road a lot. I've been doing a lot of school visits. I told you that already. I think you get it at this point. But as much as I've been hustling Leon Extraordinary, and people, everywhere I go, I meet people like, wow, this is fantastic. When did this come out? There's just so much stuff, right? But all of that so much stuff isn't Leon Extraordinary. That's other stuff. But when you guys know, and I love all your support, if you've read the book, if you connected with the book, if you've given the book to a kid or read it yourself and like, I'm gonna buy one for the shorties down the street, you know how special Leon is. And I can't do this without you. Even with all of this fantastic uh, stuff I have around me, you still see me out here doing the thing, right? You've never seen me somewhere going, oh, well, you know what, my team does that. No, I'm in these streets, cousin. I'm hitting you over the head with this info. The street team is important. Your signal boosting is so important. I can't do this by myself. I've gotten so much further with you guys helping raise the flag. So thank you so much for your support. And then the wild thing is we're doing it again, y'all. You know what it is. Leon, worst friends forever. Tell them, y'all, Worsttober is coming. Hashtag Worsttober, October 1st. Your kids are going to go home for summer. And then when they come back, there's going to be a new Leon. It's on deck, y'all. I'm so excited. But it's also up for pre-order. I never thought I'd say this in my life. Wherever books are sold. So a lot of people ask me, where can I cop this? Do I have to like see you in an alley and next to an open can of soup and get it from your trunk? No. Target, Walmart, Bezos, Barnes and Noble, bookshop.org, your local bookseller, Scholastic Book Fair. It don't matter. Just cop it. And I don't ever want to feel like I'm preaching to the choir. Thank you so much for your support. I can't do this without you. To show you how much the reach of what I'm doing, how far it's going. Look at this. A teacher sent this to me. This in their school, they had March graphic novel March Madness. And I don't know if you can see it, but Leon almost took it all, y'all. But Dog Man won. Blah. It's fantastic. And that means the kids in their school have been reading all of these graphic novels and they picked their favorite one. And we almost took the ring next year, y'all. Next year. There's just look at the imagination of these students and what a great thing for the teachers to put together. That's the power of reading. That's the power of graphic novels at work, y'all. Very excited about that. Thank you guys so much. Jack says, let us know how we can help promote your new book. The easiest thing you could do is, you can go to wherever you see the pre-order link and put that on your social. Hey, I know this really fantastic cartoonist. His new book is out, Changing Lives. I got one. You should get one too. It's that simple. Yeah, it doesn't have to be a lot of like horn tooting. Pause. It's just just do the thing. And if you ever need resources, you can even go to my website, jamarnicholas.com, and you can just point people there. I know, right? All right, guys, we're kind of running long. I'm going to try to wrap this, but thank you guys so much. I appreciate it. I want to leave you guys with this. Guys, there's a lot going on. Everybody is mentally exhausted. There was some really heavy. That's right. we're gonna repeat that 2045. I'm coming for you, Dog Man. There are a lot of deaths in the cartoonist community that happened this week. Everybody's just got like heavy heads. I'm going to just keep it really simple and say, if you are feeling like nobody is listening to you, people are listening to you and people love you. And if you ever feel like you're kind of like the walls are closing in, please reach out to somebody. Somebody will lift you up. And also, alternatively, I think we all could do a better job of being kinder. Be kinder to your fellow person. If you want to use the internet to kind of like get things off your chest, maybe reconsider that because there are other human beings that are being affected by the words you write. So, I say all the time, make good choices, even thinking about how your internal switch is set. Like I just was on Facebook reading people complaining about Fantastic Four. Can we not? Please don't watch it. That's the end of it. Just like do something else. I'm so over the negativity. And it's really affecting all of us as humans. And I think it might be a touch grass weekend for a lot of y'all. Like turn this shit off and go outside and sit under a tree. You know what I'm saying? I think everybody's poisoned, and you have to correct your actions. And I try to be a positive cat. I do all this stuff trying to just kind of bring some light into the world. But that's your homework, you guys. Let's be better. Do better. Do better. Do better. Thank you. Thank you, guys. Amen. All right, guys, let's go home. Thank you. Thank you for giving me this audience. Guys, I can't do this without you. Thank you so much. You've been watching Coffee Break with JN. We went a little long pause, but I think it was good for everybody. Um, if you haven't at this point, consider joining my Patreon. There's more of this. There's so much more. Right? Even the dog thinks so. Thank you guys so much. I go by many names. John Cena. Shout out Philly WrestleMania 40. I think it's 40. Everybody be safe out there. Johnny Five is alive. You get it. What happened here tonight? You got to hang out with your good friends, the New Caffeines. Shout out to the New Caffeines. And you watched us kick it and watch me drink coffee and watch me run my mouth. Now that I am out of coffee, somebody wake up Hicks. See you guys later. Be good to each other.